what's interesting is I started raising money for the gyms, and I met a man through my business partner, William Mafood, who owns the largest food and beverage distribution in the Caribbean and Jamaica.
Okay.
And so we were trying to raise money for the gyms, and make a long story short, he just basically was like, look, I'm not a gym guy, but I love your brand. I love the Pitbull, and I love No Days Off. I just love everything about it. Have you ever thought about doing your own beverages? Because he was looking at the cooler in the gym, and there's like, tons of beverages in there. So I said, actually, yes. And that's when I had been offered to invest in Liquid Death. And
okay.
so early on, I had always been fascinated with the water in the can. Right. I thought it was genius. The only thing that I didn't like the messaging, the whole death thing, and like witches and the skulls. It just was weird. So I didn't really like the water shit. So I didn't like that either. So I was like, I told him, I said, yeah, I think we could, the same way LD disrupted the budget water space, we could disrupt the premium water space. So I was like, let's disrupt. When's the last time you've seen like a Fiji, Pellegrino, Evian commercial, like, direct to consumer? Something that's like cool and hip. You really haven't, right? So if you go to a restaurant, it's almost always Aquapana, Saratoga, Pellegrino, Fiji, Evian, right? It's just these same things. So I was like, let's kick them in the ass. Let's disrupt them. And that's what we're doing. And so from that, I had trained a lot of the Miami Heat players, and a lot of their staff worked out all my gyms. So I had a relationship with them. I hit them up and I was like, hey, what would you think about us becoming the official premium water, of the Miami Heat? And they were like, oh, I love that idea. Do you have water? And I was like, no. And they were like, well, how are you I said, we will have water. And so our first meeting, we pitched them with a cardboard cutout of the can, like no product or anything. And they loved it. They loved the concept, loved the idea. And then the next meeting, we obviously had a product, and we let them try it. And then we had to impress the concessionaire, who was Levy. And then they, third party tested us. They carried it around the arena. Right. And then, make a long story short, we signed a 5-year deal to be the official premium water of the Miami Heat and the Kaseya Center. So we're also activating, the Drake concert and Usher and stuff like that. We actually sold out both Drake concerts. And so to me, it wasn't the apparel that was an extension. It ended up being the water. And we're actually a beverage company, so we can do anything in beverages, once we get a name for ourselves. And I also think that the apparel will probably come around after we build a lot more brand equity and stuff. But it definitely, I think that early on, people always would ask me, why aren't you putting legacy on the t-shirts? And I told them, because it's bigger than the gym. And so what I was trying, and people still didn't understand it. And they were like, well, you're not promoting the gym. And I said, I'm promoting a movement that will eventually come back to us. Yeah. And it took like a decade. Because this was launched in my 13th year, of doing this. Wow. But what I wanted to do is I wanted somebody wearing the Pitbull and the No Days Off in an F45. I wanted them to be running on a Barry's treadmill with my apparel on. So that, not because I'm trying to steal their clients, no, because I wanted to be inclusive. And I felt like the gym community was very oh, you work out there, I don't like you, and I think that's ridiculous. So I wanted to create it to where we're all friends, we're all trying to do the same thing. So why can't we do this together? Sure. And then for them, it was more of you should be proud that my clients or people that like my brand are running on your treadmill, and not the other way around. So it worked. It took a long time to get to where we are, and we still have a lot more work to do. But the intentionality early on that nobody really understood except for me, it paid off. And to be here today talking to you guys and being able to say that out loud is pretty cool, So it's actually I think it shows people out there listening that you just can't stop. And you got to understand that things take time. Brands don't happen overnight. A brand is not a logo. It's not a statement. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. It's a movement. It's a community. Yeah. It's people buying into more than a product. It can't just be, if this was just water, then it's probably not going to work. But there's a message on this can, and what's in the can was very intentional. It took 2 years to develop this water. Water, by the way, is really hard to make. I don't know if y'all know that. It's really hard to make. So, I just say that to say if you're out there and you're starting your own thing, give it time. Like, be patient and just don't stop. Don't ever, if it's something that you truly believe in and you have a vision for it and you can see what you want for it, then just don't stop, because you'll eventually get there. But it's not going to happen in 1 or 2 years. I promise you that.
Yeah.
So.
I got one more question, then we might wrap it up after this. But being that, me and John both live in Dubai, you had a gym in Dubai, and, Legacy's been successful here. You have 6 locations, and I just want to talk about just the resiliency where you had it open and then it closed. Just talk us through that, what lessons were learned, and, what was your mental going into that?
Yeah, so early on, right around 2015, I franchised.